Okay, I love it. I love all the talking and the collaboration, and it's amazing. First and foremost, I want to welcome you all to this event. Everybody at home that's live streaming right now, thank you so much. I put this event together because I felt like with everything going on in our world right now, we really needed something that would bring us all together, no matter whether we were with a EXP, Keller Williams, Allen Tate, no matter your brokerage, we all needed something to come together. And honestly, I chose the speakers for this event based off of 4 key people that have been integral in my career. I've been a real estate agent for 3.5 years, so I'm a baby agent still. But in that 3.5 years, I've been able to garner Rookie of the Year nomination. I've been nominated for 2019 Humanitarian of the Year with my firm, and I've also surpassed 20 million in sales volume for the year 2020 as a single agent. And I started thinking to myself, what can we do to give back, and how was I able to accomplish this? And so I sat long and hard, and I thought about these key people in my life that taught me all about business, all about real estate, that motivated me and supported me and were my biggest cheerleaders. So with that said, our first speaker today is going to be Nakia Evans. She is all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, here in Charlotte, North Carolina, to speak to us. And Nakia holds a very, very special place in my heart. She is the epitome of motivation, of drive, of success. She has been a realtor for almost 20 years now. She is a vice president of the Greater Baltimore Board of Realtors, and everything that Nakia has brought to the table since I've known her in just 6 months' time, I've implemented into my business. And so I felt it was very important for her to speak with everyone that's here today and everyone that is watching on live stream. So with that said, Nakia, come on up.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I'm here to talk about success, right? And everybody's probably wondering, well, who is she to talk about success? You've never seen me on the cover of a magazine, right? You've never seen me on the news. I'm not this superstar person, but I know a little bit about success. And guess what? You do too. Because guess what? Success is all about what you define as success, all right? First things first, let's just look at the word success and the true definition that's in the dictionary, right? It's any accomplishment that enhances the quality of life, okay? A successful life would include free time to satisfy all of your interests, travel, shopping, perhaps, hobbies, and socializing. Well, truly, a successful life is one that allows you to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, and with who you want to do it with, right? Okay? By the way, my name is Nakia Evans. I am always in search of more friends, more family, more relationships with family. I'm looking for success at all times. I'm looking for more. I am more than enough, right? That's what you have to wake up every single morning and tell yourself. I am more than enough. I am successful. Successful people truly have habits. They have things that they do. They have things that they have done that make them successful. So I'm going to just talk about those things. I'm going to ask you to ask yourself if you have these habits, if you are currently doing these things. If you are not, I'm going to challenge you to start doing these things as of today. You ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? All right, let's talk about the first thing, discipline. How many people are disciplined? How many people have a list of things they're going to do every single day? Before you go to bed at night, the first thing I want you to do is something called mind dumping. You need to write down everything that's on your mind and in your brain in the evening so that you can sleep peacefully. I promise you, out of this whole list, that's going to be the best thing that you do. When you do this tonight, because everybody's going to do it tonight, right? When you do this tonight, I want you to find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find me somewhere on social media, and tell me about the peaceful rest you were able to get tonight. I want you to tell me how well you slept just from simply sitting down at night, writing down everything that's on your mind and getting things out of your brain. Write your to-do list for tomorrow, tonight, before you go to bed. And then tomorrow, when you wake up, find me and tell me how peaceful your sleep was, okay? Second, people are organized. Successful people are always organized. They have to-do lists. They have task lists. They have time management lists. How many times did you hear me say the word lists? They write things down, right? You have to have notebooks. I keep 4 to 5 notebooks on my desk, or if someone grabs my backpack right now, you're gonna find 3 notebooks there, and there's even one in my suitcase back at the hotel, okay? I write every single thing down. I keep lists, I keep notes. I have my day planner from 2016. I can tell you who I met with on August the 15th in 2016, okay? That's how organized I am. All right? I take action. Successful people always take action. So everything you're writing down, your to-do list, you have to check it off. You have to check the box. You have to spring into action and get moving. I have this saying, every day I wake up, let's get moving. That means I need to take action. I want everybody here to start taking action. Just don't take notes. Just don't come to seminars like this and take notes, but go back and do the things that our guest speakers are going to tell you to do. Start today. You got to start somewhere and sometime. Next, we all need to take personal care of ourselves, right? Whether that includes a vacation, if that includes going to the spa, if that includes getting a massage, we have to take care of ourselves. Our health and ourselves is the most important thing, okay? Be sure to put me time into every day. Start with a half an hour. If you don't do this, start with a half an hour, bump it up to an hour, and soon you're gonna get to 1 whole day per week, I promise, all right? Next, positivity. If you are not surrounded by positivity, it's time to change your circle. And when I say change your circle, get around some positive people. Get around people that are going to change the situation. Get around people that are going to change your life. Get around people that you want to be like, right? You don't want to be around anyone that can't see the positive in a negative situation. Rich is here. He laughs and jokes even when... I just wrote a book, right, Rich? And I called Rich and I said, Rich, the printer printed all dots in my book where the words were supposed to be. I cried. I said, oh no. I was supposed to deliver this book on the 19th of the month. Guess what? He told me I could deliver it to all the blind people that purchased the book. I was like, oh my God, that's right, I can. He said, they don't know what it says anyway, Nakia, just give it to them. He said, take it down to the School for the Blind and donate the whole case. And guess what? That was positive in the negative situation, right? So, guess what's next? And a lot of you are going to frown now. You got to wake up early. Wake up early every single day. I wake up early every single day. I wake up early, whereas I don't even need an alarm clock. Myself, my enthusiasm, my want for more wakes me up every single day early in the morning. You know what else I do in the morning? I spread positivity in the morning. Every day at 8 a.m., I have a group and I coach them every single morning, whether that's reading a book to them, or if it's about a motivational speech, or if it's teaching them a new skill. I do this every single morning, Monday through Friday, and that wakes me up every single morning. I think at night, what if I don't get up on time? What if I don't give Audra the positive message? What if Sharon doesn't see me in the morning and I get to tell her happy birthday today? It's her birthday today. I woke up early at like 7 and I told her happy birthday. What if I missed that message? Maybe her day won't go as great. Just maybe, but maybe. Maybe I'm thinking too much of myself. But I wake up every morning and I spread positivity. Sharing the wealth. I just talked about the coaching program, right? I wake up every morning. This is something that I want to do. This is not anything that I consider a job or anything of that nature. I feel so strongly about coaching that I wake up every single morning and I volunteer to coach and speak to people, a group of people, about 15 to 18 people a day, every single morning. That is me spreading the wealth. That is me giving back to people who are in my circle. Oh my goodness. Learn every single day. You guys get it because you guys are here. You have to get up in the morning. This is what I do every single morning. Before I talk to my group and I coach them, I learn something. So between 6 a.m. to 7:30, I'm learning something new. Then we get into the middle of the day. I'm still looking for something else to learn. Guess what? We can go to about 7 events now because we're on Zoom, right? How many people are sick of Zoom? And I don't want to see any hands. Y'all keep your hands down. I love Zoom. I get more done. Y'all know the thing when people say highest and best use of time? Guess what's giving us the highest and best use of our time right now? Anything virtual. Anything virtual is giving us our highest and best use of time. Zoom. How many meetings can you do a day? How many people have done 5 meetings a day? Okay. Anybody done 8? Anybody up to 8? 5? Okay, y'all about 5. Okay. Oh, well, then you got to eat lunch. You got to get breakfast. You got to do some stuff. How many people are on Zoom in their pajamas? Let's just get fun here. Okay. All right. So it's only me and Alexis. Y'all telling stories. So what are y'all putting on then if y'all can? Me and Alexis are wearing our pajamas every day in Zoom. Some days we don't even turn our camera on, but some days we get a little adventurous and we turn our computers, our screen, our video, we turn that on and we like, forget it. Pajamas, it is today. All right? Y'all can use that tip. Steal that from me, okay? Don't waste time. Don't waste time. I just gave my friends my accountability group. We met this week. We met yesterday, as a matter of fact, and we talked about wasting time. How do you measure a waste of time? Get yourself a day plan or get yourself a sheet of paper, all right? And I want you to track your day from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, and just keep a diary of everything you've done that day. If it's sitting on the couch and watching The Young and the Restless, I need you to write that down, okay? If it's talking on the phone for a friend for half an hour and you guys are talking about the date she went on last week, write that down. If it's an argument you have with someone, write that down. Track your entire day, because that's the only way you're going to move over into time management effectively, all right? You got to see what you're doing, and you got to stop some of the things that you're doing in order to effectively move and get rid of the time wasters. All right. Challenges as gifts. We talked about the book. We talked about your goals, making goals lists, right? Getting to your goal or meeting your goals is sometimes a challenge, right? But you have to think of it as a gift. Anything you learn along the way, that's the gift. So give yourself a gift every single day. Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the details. I have this joke, I've been saying it for years. So in my past life, I was a brokerage manager, y'all, okay? I managed 83 agents at one time. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life, right? Yeah, okay. Pay attention to the details. I say this, realtors don't read. Oops, it's realtors in this room. Alexis, you forgot to tell me. Realtors don't read, but guess what? As we get older, none of us are reading anymore. We're not paying attention to the details. We have to really key into the details nowadays, especially. Like if you have 10 steps, a lot of us like to jump to step 8, right? Guess what? You got to go back to step 1. You got to go to step 2. You got to read step 3, read step 4, 5, and 6, 7, and then probably do step 8. But we have to really fine-tune the details nowadays. If we want to have a successful business, if we want to have a successful life, it's going to be all in the details. All right, everything I just named is a success habit. If you don't have all of them now, let's build on it. Let's start right away. Let's start today. Let's get moving. That's what I say every day. Let's get moving. We have to start somewhere. We have to start sometime. Let's build some of these success habits into our daily lives. And when you do that, and when you practice that, I guarantee you're going to have more. You're going to be more. You're going to have more relationships. You're going to have more fun. You are going to have more than enough. And I am more than enough. And guess what? I want you all to repeat after me. I am more than enough.
I am more than enough.
Yes, I am more than enough. Say it again, because y'all didn't say it good for me. Say it one more time. I'm on Zoom, I'm on camera. Make me look good. Yes, I am more than enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alexis, for choosing me. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you for allowing me to make my first out-of-town appearance in 2020.
Literally, you cannot have Nakia in some of your masterminds and coaching groups, and literally every single day we get off, and I was not motivated that morning when I woke up, and I get off, and you guys, my husband's over here, I am OCD about work. Like kids are screaming everything, and I'm like, no, I'm motivated. I'm in the zone now, and I've got to do it. And most of that is because of Nakia. So our next speaker today, I will say that I met this wonderful guy through his wife. He actually sent her to me. His wife is my assistant, and you know, they both came into my life and my business guns blazing. Like, what can we do? How can we grow this? Let's make sure we're maximizing how much we work together. He is the owner of RCM Development. And for those of you in the Charlotte region, when you visit certain communities like D.R. Horton, MI Homes, most of the time, his company has purchased that land, developed it, and then those builders bought it from them. I thought it was important because he has taught me so much in just the short time that I've known him about this key piece of business and why investors don't want to work with realtors, why we make their lives harder, how can we improve that. So his key focus is acquisition and development of land, and I am just absolutely thrilled he's here to talk with you guys today. He's going to share with you, as realtors, some tips that you can focus on to build relationships with some key developers, some land and acquisition companies, and even just regular investors. How can you best use your time with those investors, bring value to them, and they can bring value to you and your business in return. So with that said, I'd like to welcome Casey Farmer.
Hey everybody, that introduction made me a lot more important than I really am. She's right. I do work in acquisitions and development. We do work with a lot of national builders, but I cut my teeth in Tennessee and Gatlinburg years ago selling timeshares, and I was still in school trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And Harry Patton and the Blue Green Corporation entered my life, and it's never stopped since. When I first started, I was in sales, just in doing land sales for a company called Waterfront Group. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. They're out of Cornelius. We were doing probably $100 million or more a year before the crash. And I won Salesman of the Year 7 years in a row. And then became sales manager, made a couple of other moves, and then we started our own company during the crash called Premier Land Liquidators, Premier Development. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or been invited to a land sale, or if you've ever got a piece of mail in your mailbox that says one day only, $9,900, reserve your appointment now. That was us. So that's how all that started. And that's actually how my acquisition started as well. We would go out and look for what they would call the low-hanging fruit, which would be developments that were abandoned during the crash. Entitlement was done, most of the development work was done, and we come in and buy it at pennies on the dollar through Heart Money, other funds that the government put forward to try to help things happen. Our very first development was in Todd, North Carolina. We bought the entire development for $600,000. 30 days later, we sold it out for $2.7 million. And it just kept traveling and growing after that. Since then, I've sold Premier, my shares of Premier, and started RCM Development with the goal of adding construction to what we do. I felt like we were leaving an awful lot of money on the table when we would go through these developments and sell hundreds of lots to end users and then disappear. And then you get phone calls from these buyers. What do we do now? How do we build? Well, I felt like there was a lot of money being left on the table, so this is where RCM came into play, and then it kind of moved me more into the primary market. And since then, I've partnered with the Langtree Group in the Lake Norman area, and we've done, I just left the North Carolina College campus yesterday. We spent hours looking over about a $250 million 6-year project to do the construction of their, all of their campus. But one of the key components I think that I'm supposed to be here talking about isn't necessarily the construction aspect, but the land development and infrastructure and what we would be looking for from realtors. If anybody's interested in doing this, there's a lot of things that you need to know. And if you don't know, don't pretend that you know, because that's the most frustrating part. When you're looking for, if you ever want to work with an investor or somebody that's looking to purchase property to develop, there's basically a hierarchy of needs. The very first and highest and most the most profitable for an investor and commercial buyer is going to be student housing, believe it or not. That's guaranteed money. If you can find a project like that, they're few and far between. It's like finding a unicorn. But if you can find it, it is the easiest right now to finance. It is the easiest right now to sell, and it is the most profitable. And we can sit and talk about cap rates and everything else. When student housing comes into the picture, you can throw all that out. It's a guaranteed win. Everybody's going to buy it. Call me first. Then the second tier is going to be your commercial development. And that's going to be anything except big box. I know that that's not what you guys were prepared to hear, but it's not the big box developments. Those are actually sometimes under a 6% cap rate because of how guaranteed that money is going to be. They're able to negotiate out of the 6% cap. That is where normally people would work. But what I want to talk to you guys about is what I would be looking for as a land developer / representative investor is your list of properties that you would bring to the table. First of all, patience. With big deals like this, it's going to take a long time. There's not going to be a 30-day close like it would be with a house. It's never going to happen. We know this. There's a due diligence period that has to be in process, and most of the time, no one will close until there is an LDP in place, which is a land disturbance permit. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself or not, but where you're looking at land deals, the very first that you want to try to find, and these are the closest to a unicorn, would be developed. It'd be roads in, utilities in, water, sewer lines, things of that nature. If you can find something like that, then you probably can close pretty quick. But realistically, what we're looking for next is entitlements. How many entitlements does this land have in place already? How much farther do we have to take it before we can get to the finish line and that also important LDP? The next would be something that's zoned, and then the next level would be raw land, and then you would probably section that out to the counties that are easiest to work with, timelines, so forth and so on. So that's what we would be looking for from an acquisition standpoint if you wanted to bring something to the table of that nature. And these can be very, very large and very, very lucrative deals. I mean, we've bought anything from $750,000 to, I think right now the biggest one I've got on the table is a $63 million closing that should be in the next 40, 45 days, I hope. But we do work with funds that will cash close very quickly if it's the right deal, and it makes it through the due diligence period without much hair on it. One other key point is if you're ever talking about trying to list a property like this, never list it. A property that is up for development, once it gets listed, becomes obsolete. Nobody wants it anymore. It's not, you want this to be a pocket listing. You want to be the only one that has knowledge of it. You do not want developments listed. Lexus has brought me deals. There have been fantastic deals and should be jumped on right away, but because of the incestuous nature of what land development is, if my competitor's already seen it, I'm not buying it. That's the attitude that everybody takes in this market. So keep that in mind, even if you are bringing a development to the table for an investor / developer. If it's already been listed, your best pitch is to go back to the owner and be like, can we take this off the market first? And then I've got some people I can take it to. But if it's already been shopped around, more than likely they won't even look at it or they won't even dig into the numbers. And that's just kind of the nature of the business. Beyond that, I don't really have anything except for if we can do questions. I would field questions if anybody has any, but this is about all I have to offer. Dang it. What's this?
So my question for you, and one of the things I think that I was curious about when you first introduced yourself to me, is there things that realtors do that you, in your mind you're just like, no, stay away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. I will never work with you. I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah. Well,
give me the top two.
Oh, only two? There's no, it's completely understandable. It's just once you've been in the business as long as I have, you kind of have a certain expectation of where the things are going to go, and especially if you're working with a realtor that is new in the land acquisitions and land development, their expectation seems to be like what I talked about before. Why can't we close in 30 days? Why does there have to be a 12-month due diligence? Why is there an 18-month due diligence on this? And that's something that people need to understand is when you're spending these kind of dollars and making this type of capital investment, you're talking about spending someone's not only monetary capital, but their intellectual capital and the time that they're going to put into this to go through due diligence. We've spent $500,000 in due diligence before and not closed on the property. That's 100% loss. So when you're coming to the table as a realtor and trying to pitch or show or tell somebody about a deal, just come to it with the understanding that this is going to take time. That, and relationships are important, where a lot of times you guys will go sell a house to somebody and that's the last time you'll ever see them. If you start selling to a developer and you've got it good, you're going to sell them maybe one a month. And once your pipe is built, you're closing one a month. And then you get to $20 million a deal, you're not doing too bad. But you just have to come to the table with that in mind. This is not going to be turn and burn. This is not going to happen fast. These guys are educated. These are educated buyers. Probably know more than you do about it. I'm not putting anybody down, but from the standpoint of when Alexis will bring a piece of property. We're actually working with one now. I won't point out exactly which one it is, but it was a unicorn of a property. It was 93 lots, basically completely developed. Past entitlement, past zoning, water and sewage in, pressure tests were up to date, everything was good. What's wrong with it? Well, the capacity of the area's sewer won't be updated in order enough to get this in the system for at least another year. So there comes LDP. Now, when we can't do anything until we have sewage capacity that will make this work. So, and that's just one caveat. There's hundreds of them, and I'm still learning. Every day I seem to find a new reason we can't close. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you give us some advice? So if you have a pocket listing on some land and you start shopping and talking to people like you, what's the strategy on making sure that they don't just wrap it up and do something so they buy themselves enough time to think about it and you don't have somebody that's, ambitious and excited to get it done? Because what I've noticed with people that play in your line of work is that you guys are very sharp. You write a check, walk away from it, no big deal. How can a real estate agent kind of get a better feel for the cars?
Pick one. Be monogamous with whoever it is you're working with because they're working with every national developer anyway. Pick one and work with one. That way you feel loyalty, they feel loyalty. You're going to be shopping it to the same people. This is a very small world when it gets to this level. So there's not thousands of people out there that you can, and once your name gets out there, everybody's going to know it. You can call a developer in Texas and they're going to know who you are. And so you work with one loyally and you're getting pocket listings like this, you're going to make a mint. You will make a mint. Because what will happen is when you're in this game, if I can't use it, I know everybody else in the game. I'll just be like, look, what's your name? I'm sorry. Chris? Rich? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, my buddy Rich has this property I think you guys would be interested in. If it gets passed that way, then I'm coming to you for every one of my needs. But if I know you're shopping it, just similar to the listing statement that I made earlier, if it's listed and I know all of my competitors have already seen it or they have the same look at it as I do, I don't feel like I have an advantage. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, sir.
For a neophyte to your industry, what 3 qualities do you look for in somebody like you that you would want to work with? Like what qualities does an inexperienced person that wants to bring a property or a series of properties to somebody, what qualities?
That's a great question. In my personal opinion, and my wife can attest to this too, you don't have to be a superstar. I want a sponge. I want somebody that's going to listen to everything that I have to say, and I don't have to tell you 40 times that this is important to me. If you hear it and you listen, I can give you the guidance that you need to help me through whatever it is that I want done. And I think that anybody that's good in this game would be able to do that as well. And not to say you're a robot, you also are your own person, but at the same time, don't bring any preconceived notions that you may have had about this to the table when it starts to happen, because most of them are going to be wrong. It's just the way that this game works. It can be frustrating. I mean, you have to literally keep a poker face for 12 to 18 months on some of these deals, and it's not easy. But once it starts to flow and your pipeline is full, then it's very, very rewarding. It can be very rewarding. I don't know if did that answer your question? Okay. Yes.
Is there such thing too small of a deal?
No, there's not. And that's actually a really good question too. It depends on who you're working with. For me personally, there are some national buyers that I work with that won't accept anything under 100 lots. But at the same time, through the court, and just like the previous question, if you work with one person, if you're in the line of business that I am, I also run into a lot of smaller builder developers that want only 20 lots. So no, I don't think there's anything too small. And like what I would tell most of the people that bring me stuff is, you don't vet it, let me vet it. Bring it to me, let me look at it. I'll take 10 minutes and be like, no, not this one, or keep going. And the more you do that, the more you learn what that person's looking for. So you get better and better and better at what you find. That's my opinion. It's not written in text anywhere, but I think that that's the best way to do it. Yes? Yeah, 100%. I mean, so I work with several national funds that are basically a relay between your national builders, your NVR, your DR Hortons. They're a relay between the seller and your end user, whether they're going to be built for rent or they're going to be built for sale. It doesn't matter, but rarely are they in-house developers also. So there's a national fund relay in between there that's going to come in, buy it, develop it, and then sign up the national builder on their takedown schedule as they take down 10, 15 lots a quarter, whatever their pace may be. So the answer is yes, take them off the market, and there may even be some lag time between that, because if this has been shopped to everybody already, your relay's not going to be interested in it because they're already going to assume that the national builder's already looked at it and they won't want it from them. Does that make sense? I think I'm not sure I completely understand what you're saying, but I think with where the national level developer is a whole lot less about aesthetic than it is location. So right now I'm working in the Orlando market, the Nashville market, the Raleigh market, the Charlotte market. Is that it? I thought there was. Do what?
Virginia.
Oh, well, a little bit of Virginia and a little bit of North and South Carolina coastal. With that being said, the nationals that I work with, they'll buy it sight unseen if it fits their list of criteria. So, so it's got to be within 38-minute drive of the city center of Charlotte, and it's got to have water and sewer within 500 yards of the entrance. Whatever their criteria may be, they'll jump on it strictly because of that. But then you also have to remember there's a due diligence period. So till you get to that land disturbance permit, you've got to just kind of hang on and hope. Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
So how would you recommend a new agent that may be interested in this, to find this type of property or land or?
That's a great question. It starts to happen, after a while it'll start to happen just through word of mouth and connections. But if you can establish an area, and I've seen people get very successful doing nothing but riding around and looking at property, matching it up on GIS, calling the owner and asking if they're interested in selling it. And some of your very best deals can come that way. Sometimes people will be way too proud of what it is that they want to sell, but then other times you run into people that won't even know what they have, or it was left to them, or lots of different scenarios, and you get a really great deal that way. Yes?
See, before you say anything to me, I've got to let you know that I'm a real estate agent representing a buyer that's interested in your property. Please do not tell me any of your material facts. Let's go over working with real estate agents real quick. Initial, great, out the gate, I'm done. Then you talk to them. If they are interested in selling the land, you present that to your developer, your land and acquisition contact. Once you present it to them, they say, we're interested in it. Most of them have what's called an LOI, a letter of interest, that they have drafted up with their basic points of what they will normally do for a deal. You talk with them, you make the necessary changes, have them sign, present it to the owner of that parcel, have them sign. At that point, they're saying, yeah, we're ready to go. They can then, at that time, start their due diligence and get the deposits and everything wrapped up. Or sometimes what will happen is some landowners want it to proceed to a formal contract. You're not going to put it on a standard offer to purchase. You're going to have an attorney take that LOI and put it into an actual contractual document specific to that property.
That's right.
So, awesome. So next speakers that we have, I have known since I've moved to Charlotte. I've been in Charlotte for about 10 years now. And when I first moved here, I was 23 years old. 23 years old, baby. I honestly had never been in a city this big. I came from the country part of where I lived. And man, my accent showed it. They picked on me because I said y'all, and they were from up north and said yous. And they're just amazing people. They took me under their wing, and I can remember being newly married at that time and sitting with them in their kitchen and interviewing with them to be their office manager. And one of the things they said to me is, this is my wife, this is my husband, you will never come in between that. They set boundaries from the get-go. They gave you their expectations from the get-go. And why I enjoyed working with them for so much is because I knew these people, even though my parents are 3 hours away from me, are going to be the people that I can look up to and try to build my marriage off of. To look at them and know that they are the example of a great and successful marriage, and then that is what I need to model my marriage off of. Little did I know that my time with them would be much more important. Not only did they help me model my marriage off of their marriage, but they also helped me model business. They taught me so much. They are pillars in the event industry in the Charlotte region. They have opened up acts for stars like Justin Timberlake. They have been flown down to Cancun to be the entertainment for events for some very, very large companies in the Charlotte area. They are the official DJ for the Carolina Panthers, so we all gotta love that. And they are definitely a testament and one of my biggest examples of what it means to build a small business from the garage of your home, have it stay stable for over 20 years and become just monumental empire of entertainment industry on the East Coast. And I invited them here to speak to you guys, and you guys have their books. I invited them to speak to you guys because from day one, when I started in real estate, I knew that everything they do in business, I wanted to make sure that I put into my real estate business. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Vinny and Diane Esposito of Split Second Sound.
You know, thank you very much for the kind things. When we met Alexis and she interviewed, you're right, we set boundaries, and one of the most comfortable things is once we knew our thing, but the biggest thing that we did with Alexis is let her be Alexis. We didn't say these are the rules, we gave guidelines, and we let her become the person she could become. And I think that's why we had a great relationship, because she would experiment, she would get ideas. And the funny thing is, Alexis, you know she's 150 miles per hour, right? But it was funny because on Friday, she'd be sitting there like a wet noodle, like I'm shot, because she burned herself out doing so much. And we were expanding when she did it. We did a lot of growth at that time, which I'll go back into in a minute. And at one time, we let a part-timer and another person go in the office. So it literally, for a few months during wedding season, football season, at the height of everything, it was literally just me and Alexis in the office. She was answering phones, setting up appointments, sending contracts, writing all those things. And then on top of it, setting up my appointments. I'm doing appointments in one end. She's trying to be quiet, talk to people, and it worked. I don't know how. And the only reason we ever stopped working together is because they built a family, which are in a great family of 3 kids. But we've always wanted, and we stayed close friends. We had part-time help. She came and helped. And then when she was getting into real estate, we're like, maybe we'd like to offer you a partnership in working. And I'm really proud that you said no, because this is your true calling of what to do, because I could never offer her now where she is. She's a star. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that we could be a part of it and stuff, and to see you guys, Ben, too, success, because just like my wife is, and Ben being a support group, it's a real important thing, but she's just not just that support. So thank you very much. I want to start off with your whole business. Everything is based on referrals, relationships. When I moved here, in 2000, or actually 1999. This was a letter I had, one of the 2 referrals that I brought with me. 8-in-1 Pet Products was a company that was the 2nd largest pet manufacturer in the country, next to Hart's Mountain. So June 1st, 1999 writes, "To whom it may concern, my name is Ray Gallagher, and I've been a chief financial officer with 8-in-1 Pet Products since 1995. I authorized the hire of Vincent Esposito. I go by Vinny a lot, not Vincent. Only when I'm in trouble, I'm Vincent or Vincent Anthony, just so you know. In January of '96, at the time, our company was implementing new manufacturing management software system. A key step in this conversion was to hire somebody responsible for inventory control. This function was necessary for the success of the system implementation that was critical to the continued success of the business. This was taking place while the company was experiencing 20% growth in revenues. Vinny was able to improve our inventory accuracy from below 50% to over 90% within his first year on the job. His success was a result of an organized, common sense approach. Remember those words, common sense. Approach to day-to-day operations, combined with the tremendous talent of motivating his subordinates and, more uniquely, his superiors. I admit I learned things from Vinny that still help me do a better job. Over the course of a 20-year career, I've worked with many impressive individuals. However, I have known only a few who have succeeded because of who they are. That's you. Vinny is one of those people. In achievements as inventory controller resulted in his promotion to shipping manager. At the time, the company was in danger of losing its major customers due to late shipments and poor fill rate. Vinny reduced outstanding per orders for over 2 weeks to an average of 3 days and pushed fill rates to over 98% with only a nominal increase in staff. So in summary, if I was in position to hire Vinny, he would not be on the job market. I would do whatever it would take necessary to keep him a member. Obviously, I was moving here. If you have any questions, call me. So what Sid, you said, it's about referrals, trust, and knowing people. The testimony or referral that you get is from a relationship of the impression you leave on people. It's giving 100% everything you do. It could be cleaning a closet, to sweeping a floor, to a relationship, to a phone call, to notes that you put on something. It's everything is 100% because you don't know who's watching. That's one of the biggest things and stuff. And my wife, Diane, has been a big proponent of why I've been able to push 100% or more. That's why, again, I compliment somebody like Ben, because we don't get to see the behind the scenes sometimes of your spouse. Even if they're not in the business with you, they're your business partners and stuff. So Diane, being everything when I met you and stuff, maybe you can explain to them a little bit of that part of what it meant to be involved in the business and the relationship part.
So I met Vinny.
Speak louder, you don't have the mic.
So I met Vinny. No, I'm good. I was a singer, and I came into his music studio, which was 3 rooms, recording and rehearsal. And I had a really crappy band, and he said,
You have a real crappy band.
and you need to leave and start a band with me. So I saw how he catered to people, how everybody, with crappy bands or not, that was in his music studio, he went and focused directly on what they needed. He was very attentive to their needs. We are both high D personalities, right? Yes. Right. But we respect each other's strong qualities. So if I see something that he wanted to do, and I felt different about it, but I knew that it was in our best interest to leave it up to him to do, you have to shut it down and let him take control. So I came from corporate America, and he was the music guy and the entrepreneur. So with both business minds, and he's very intelligent. I saw places where I was able to help him and improve and expand his studio with my corporate America kind of stuff. So slowly but surely, he grew his 3-room facility into 17.
Yeah, about 17 rooms, live recordings, sound company,
Doing people's
successful
albums
bands.
and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
We're freaking frack, so we interrupt each other like true Italians do. But we were able to get a project done. We have an album. You could tell my age because it's an album, but he was able to produce and do all of the music on that. So that's how we met.
I'm going to ask everybody to take a mental note, or you can write it down. I'm going to ask you 3 scenarios. Happy. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, people-wise, the job-wise, whatever it is, that it's not money, it's not fancy clothes, cars, all that's nice, but it really success is happy. You could be the happiest garbage man on the route in that neighborhood because you go home to a beautiful family, you have a house, and you're respected by your neighbors and friends. That's success. Or you could be the biggest real estate agent or the biggest entertainer. It doesn't matter as much. Are you happy what you're doing? My second question was, what inspires you? People wonder, it's all different. Mine is people. I love people. You know, people sometimes ask, your passion is music. You get to do your music as a passion. Believe it or not, it's not my passion. I'm just damn good at it. But what I do, my passion is people. I love interacting with people, talking with you now, to entertaining 50,000 people, to 2 people, to having conversation with somebody at line at Lowe's. And I could do that. I like people. And then the last thing is, what motivates you? Well, my family motivates me. I have my family. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to work the 2 jobs. I had a corporate career before this. I wouldn't be able to do 2 jobs, 3 jobs, work long hours, do the amount of things that you've been able to do if you weren't doing it for the right reasons. So what do the 3 things have in common? You know, there's not money in it. Success is being happy, enjoying what you're doing. What motivates is my family, and what inspires me is people, but all those have a synergy together. You can't chase the money. Money's great, and I'm not telling you don't go after making money, but you'll never make enough money if you're chasing money. But if you enjoy what you do, you're good at it, you're loyal, as he brought out, and you do the right things, it comes. It comes naturally with it. Because you're good at what you do, you're motivated for the right reason, you like the people and like what you do and stuff, it will come to you, but it's got to come natural. Believe people don't know this. I had a corporate career before when I worked at 8-in-1 Pet Products, even though I had a music studio. When I moved here, I went back into the working world, couple of jobs, and then and I first moved here in '99. I had a job for 6 months with Jevic. I had a job for 6 months with Bic, the pens and lighters, and I'm like, man, this job career down here, I don't know. I went out and got a real estate license. Passed it on my first round, had a real estate license. Not many people know that. It was my backup plan. Then my third job was with Landair, and I was a general manager at the Philip Morris plant. And I took a 1 plant, 13 people, and I turned it into 5 plants, 2 cities, 65 people underneath me, and I was in charge of over $140 million of machine parts for Philip Morris, who makes millions and millions and billions of dollars. I was one of the key reasons that kept those machines going. And it helped me making all that money, doing all that. I never got into real estate, but I also built up my music career and kept working at it. So then my next thing was, I was ready, and here's one of the things about it. It's a little bit of a test of people, but hard work is nice. Everybody says, I'm a hard worker. That's nice. You get a pat on the back. Hard working is nice, but that's really all it is. Smart work is better. Smart work is any employer will tell you, I'd rather have an employee work 30, 35 hours and get the same thing done as 50 hours, somebody who puts in 50 hours. Why? Because they're probably better at what they do, but also they have now a better work-life balance. It's not bad to work 50, 60 hours. I've done that too, but it's also smart work gets better results. But the last part, it's results. Results equals production equals payday. Doesn't matter how hard you work, how smart you are, how smart you work. It's results. That referral I recommended. Everything that we have ever done or anybody has ever done has done it. Even what Alexis does now, it's results. You're getting results for your client, you're getting results that you're selling things, whatever it might be, it's results. Hard work is nice. Relationships are good, it's separate. But you got to get results. Results is production. If it's selling houses, property, whatever it is, what's the end result that you need for that business or you to grow? That's what makes the money and does it. One of the things, I'm going to go back a little bit. In my book, and you'll see, and thank you very much for having me bring my book out and stuff, which was another accomplishment just to do that. You can do things, you really feel inspired. Remember I was telling about that corporate career and it was building it up, and then I got the promotions and all that stuff. And what I did is I always saved money, and I'm like, all right, just in case my music business is growing, I need to think about what the next steps would be. So you got to think 5 steps ahead of every move you make is 5 steps ahead. It's almost like a chess game. You got to say, if I make this, these are the things that can happen. If I do this, these are the things that can happen. So what I did is I built my company and built it to a point that I could make a decision one day because it was debt-free, had very little debt at home, had it all set up that I could do anything I want anytime. And in 2008, during the recession, I quit a 6-figure job. She didn't think I was crazy, you sure? But I'm like, this is the right time only because this company is not doing the right thing by people. And this is what I mean about people in relationships. I won them a contract. We were getting another bid for another company to come in and do all the work that we were doing for Philip Morris. They had other bidders. So they had this bid together, and I forgot it was like 3.2 million or whatever it was, and other people were bidding lower. And I said, but I got people working their butts off for me for 10, 12 bucks an hour. They're doing everything I'm asking. I'm like the expense accounts, taking them to lunch, doing things that like, I need to pay them more money. So literally my boss said to me, you pay them more if you want. That's another 100,000 on the contract. But if you lose the contract, you know it's your job because they'll just take your people, put a new manager in, and you're gone. So I bet on myself and I won. We got the contract. It was like 3.3 million and we won it. But during the recession, you know what the company did? We can't pay you the raises yet because we have other parts of our company in other cities struggling. But we'll take care of you. So I literally told my entire staff and quit. I told them I'd give them a month. They came back 2 days later, drove down from Tennessee and let me go. But the point is, I couldn't morally do that because I built relationships with these people. They busted their butt for me. And I was not able to deliver 100%. So my exact words were, You got the money in the contract, and now you got my salary. You're gonna have to pay them one way or the other because I'm gone. And they end up paying them because they had no choice. Basically, I put them in a tough situation to do the right thing. But I quit because I needed to be able to take care of people the way I wanted to take care of people. The way we have a way that we do with people and the way we interact was really important. That was a vital thing to me. So how you build your business, it's those relationships that if you give somebody your word, never go back on it. You never go back on anything. You deliver it, and even if it means sacrificing something you have or whatever it is to prove your point that you're sincere about it. That's vital. You never get your word back if you break it with somebody. I think 5 steps ahead. In my book, I write that one eye is on today and one eye is on the future. That's what I was doing when I was building. So here's the way it works. If you're right now in the current situation and you want to be somewhere here, you've got to start working on it here, towards the angle. But you don't go to an exact point. So I'm working on things of the future and I'm working on now. And what happens, it accelerates it, because once you get it together, you're accelerated. That's the secret to my thing of success, is I'm always doing things 5 steps ahead, even if it doesn't make sense now. And most of the people doesn't. That's one of the things that we play with each other. She's like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does if you see where it's gonna get to. And I'll give you an example. In my company, DJ World, they have a little cheap servers that you buy or rent or lease from, and it basically puts your information together. This wasn't enough, a CRM system, basically, all right? I needed something that was detailed. I can give my people what they needed. So in 2010, right before you came on board, I had a system built that was probably over 50 grand for a DJ Worlds. Nobody's ever done that, and still probably hasn't done that. But I built it that it did every single thing, including map directions to jobs and details, and people made fun of it to a degree. Other DJ companies, I'll never do that. But I was able to go from 5 or 10 jobs a day that I can do 50 jobs in one day. We did 30 jobs or 29 jobs in a day. People are like, how do you do that? All perfectly, because it's in sync with the system that we built. The idea is, I knew I wasn't there now, but one day I will get there. One day those reports and everything I want are gonna mean the world to me. So I thought ahead and invested early, which allowed us quickly to build into it. And now we're making more changes and upgrades as we expand even more with different territories and cities. What I'm getting to at the point is, if you want to have success in a thing, you got to picture what it is. Kind of a little bit in the key. You got to picture that future success. And then, like what Diane will do is help me sometimes play, devil's advocate and things like that, and challenge me on things, and you can expand on that a little bit. But it's the idea that is, how do I get there, and what's going to get in my way and stuff. And you play that devil's advocate to me.
You're skipping ahead, buddy.
Sorry, I'm improvising, I'm going and stuff. But do you want to say something on it, or?
No.
All right, that's the wife thing and stuff.
Smoking holes, devil's advocate. So we're both positive people, and we will have plans laid out. He runs with his. I have to step out of being positive, and I have to flip my personality and play devil's advocate, because if you don't poke holes in this gung-ho plan that you have, that bottom somewhere, that hole is going to just make you sink to the bottom, and you're not going to achieve what you wanted to achieve, which is your main goal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We do get along. She says perfect family marriage. We had an argument last night. We won't talk about it. But not only you're looking for opportunities. Here's something I'm going to challenge you. You're looking for opportunities, but you're creating opportunities. You know what I mean? You put a great example. You asked a question about finding property. Sometimes it's just going out, looking, making phone calls. It's creating opportunities. Sometimes you don't know an opportunity's there. So let me ask everybody, if there was an opportunity, the door is open, and you knew the opportunity's right through that door, you would go right through it. If the door was locked, you'd find the key to get through it. What happens to the wall? What happens, the opportunity is on the other side of that wall? The opportunity you want. You would go through the wall or find a way to get through the wall. The problem is we don't always see what the opportunity is, because sometimes we have tunnel vision. I walk in a mall, I don't do this. I literally look at the stores. I like the way they market that. They do this. I see the way they're dressed. I look at everything and analyze everything. How could anything apply to me? So I'm in the entertainment business, but how does it apply to real estate? Everything can cross-apply. That's also, I know, I'll say this, everybody heard the expression thinking out of the box, right? I don't think out of the box. I think if there's no box. If you think there's no box, anything is possible. It's like, here's my neighborhood. What's outside my neighborhood? Charlotte, Concord, this and that, Raleigh, you can go anywhere. But if you think there's no boundaries in neighborhood, China, Russia, you could be anywhere and anything. The idea is there's no such things as a wall. And when you think like that, it's different. So that's why I talk about opportunities. And I'll give you an example. 2011, I got a phone call. I actually auditioned for the Carolina Panthers through a connection that knew us. They had a guy for 16 years. And I'm going to show you this story, a couple of parts of it, because of opportunities that you would never think of and where it could lead. So I get the audition, and I'm second. I don't get it. All right? But it's okay. We're expanding business. We're doing good. We're on Fox television now. We're doing monthly things with them on TV. Things are going good. We're busy as hell. I can't take it anyway. And then that one Friday, we get a phone call. First, Fox television comes and gives us 4 tickets to their suite because the Giants are playing the Panthers, which was my team growing up, was the New York Giants. So we're going to the game. We're going to go to Florida, got a vacation at Disney with our kids, drive back that morning, and we're going to go to the game. And 2 hours or an hour after that person gave us the tickets, I get a phone call from the director, do you want the job? Now, keep in mind, FanFest is 1 day away, and the first game is a week away. And I have like 5 or 6 appointments that day. I got a wedding the next day. I'm flooded on Monday, and I'm going to vacation. Hold on. What do you think? And here's her words. It could be a good opportunity. I didn't even see that right away. That was her words. Could be a good opportunity. I would go for it. Great, I'll do it. Girls, clear my schedule. Ran to the stadium, trained all day I could, went there Saturday morning, a little more training, set up for FanFest, and then went to my wedding. Sunday, they didn't there working. Monday, I spent the whole day training, took all this paperwork. Tuesday morning, we're driving to Disney. She was a little upset because I was on constant phone calls and emails back and forth, trying to learn in completely different language and system. Drove back Saturday morning, showered, changed my clothes, went to the game. They had a blast. It was the worst experience of my life. Okay?
Worst migraine he's ever had.
Second quarter of the game, I really wanted to crawl into a ball. I couldn't handle everybody talking to me. Where do you go? How do you handle it? Follow the game, and here's the NFL rules. This is not DJ. This is not what I know how to do. But the best part about it is I didn't screw up so bad that, all right, let me see if I can do this. This was an accomplishment. This could be an opportunity. And it became really good. So a couple of months later, talk about opportunities, I asked all the directors to come in, my boss and everybody else. You guys don't know about my company. I want to explain other things I can do for you. And all of a sudden, now I was offering them Play 60 events, draft day parties, and now I was starting to do those things. You know what I mean? And it was amazing. The next step was 2012, I think it was November, late October, I do my first event with Cam Newton. And I remember going up to him and just like, hey, I'm going to give a card. That's what we all do, right? We give our card out and we talk to them. And I gave him a card, and he's like, great. He gives it to his assistant, Shane, and I'll let you know. Because I asked him, do you want any music I could play for you at the stadium? I never heard anything. 6 months later, May of 2013, I'm doing another event for the Cam Newton Foundation, and this is the parts to learn about opportunities. I go up to him again. He doesn't remember. He takes another card, gives it to his assistant, and he says, great, I'll let you know. A couple of days later, I'm sitting in my home in Matthews about 9:10 at night, all right, on a Wednesday night, and my phone rings, and I say, who's this? And he says, it's Cam Newton. And I'm like, yeah, right. All right? So then he's like, no, this is Vinny the Music Man. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I can tell his voice, who he is. He goes, you gave me your car, you talked about music. I'm like, yeah, man, anything you want, anytime. He goes, how about tonight? Sure. Meet me 10 o'clock at Chima's. We'll go over music. Diane, I run in the house. She has a nice car, because that's what you do when you're a spouse. I need your keys to your BMW, put a nice shirt on, and I'm running to the city. I get there, and I'm like geeked up on another level. And then all of a sudden, I get there, and I go to open the doors, and it's locked. And I could see it's a little dimmer. There's a few people finishing up, hostess stuff. I'm like, somebody played the nastiest joke on me. So what happens is, the lady comes, unlocks the door. She's like, can I help you? And I'm like, I'm supposed to meet Cam Newton. Oh, his entrance is right on the side. Go there. I'm like, this is serious. So I'm waiting, called his president of the foundation. I'm like, I'm supposed to meet Cam. He's not answering. She's like, good luck with that. I have no idea. 2 minutes later, 5 minutes later, he comes walking up, bag of food. He's like, good, you made it. Come on up. And we sat for 45 minutes in his house picking out music of how he wanted to change the way music is played, inspiration for the players and the stadium. He wanted it to be like Gladiators. So now I had an in to change the music and do things because I had his backing. Here's how you create an opportunity, because that opportunity fell in my lap. Then I turn around and say, I hate jock jams and things that are played at the stadium. I wanted to change it. So again, I go to the directors, I ask them for another meeting, and I got an idea, guys. I want to put one of my DJs in the booth next to me. I want to put one DJ in the 500 section and one in the lower section, and I want them to roam. Every song I play, I want them to react what the crowd is doing, and then in between, what do you like to hear? What do you like to hear? What do you like to hear? And for 4 games, we did it, and they gave me data. Data that changed the face of the way music is at the NFL stadiums, because they told me nobody wants jock jams and that. They want sing-alongs, hip-hop, old school. They want to have fun songs. They want it to be like a party. The game is fun to watch, but they want to also be entertained. And we changed the face of music at the stadium, where in 2014, the NFL was actually asking for our playlists and things that we were doing on first down, third down, and what we were doing. And now I'd be watching games years later and be like, I play that, what are they doing and stuff? But it helped change the way you do things, because it started with, it could be an opportunity, to then make it an opportunity, then to create an opportunity. And that's what I'm getting with you and your business. That has been my business for 20 years, and what we've built ourselves is everything is an opportunity. Everybody you meet is an opportunity, because you never know. You could be DJing in front of 5 people, or it doesn't matter, 50,000 people, because you never know who's gonna hear you and wanna do something. And that's what led to like jobs where you said Cancun, was because we did a job for a company, and we did such a good job at the 3,000 people at the Fillmore that when they did their President's Club at Cabo, Cancun, and next year is gonna be Jamaica, we're gonna bring you out with your wife, with everything, all expenses paid, 5-star resort, and now it's leading to other jobs and stuff. And it's just, and then they referred somebody else to me. I had a job in the Bahamas until it got canceled because of COVID, and it's just leading to other things. You never know where that opportunity is going to come from, or the other person. You said something even good. Remember when he says, I may not so, but somebody hears your name and they're talking and stuff like that? You don't know that 6th degree of separation where things can happen, but you're putting your best foot forward. Everybody you talk to, you never talk BS. You never talk anything that will come back to you as that's not truthful, or you didn't back it up, because you can't get out of that. Once you screw that, that's done. You can't. Everything you say, and if you ever do something wrong, you own up to it. And you do right, because nobody's perfect. You always say, yep, I did it, I'll take care of you, I'll fix it. Sometimes in twofold. You do things right and stuff. Even in real estate, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you are. If you do something wrong or something, you own up to it. If you're a great talker, don't be a good talker, be real. People who are not real, other people will know it. You could be a good talker. I thought she was from New York, she talks so fast, right? But she's real in what she says. She's passionate, you can see that. That's what you have to be, no matter how good of a speaker you are. So basically those examples, again, is just going through the doors, is creating opportunities. I don't know the ins and outs of the real estate market, but I know we use Alexis for everything. I can't tell you how many people I know who are friends. I've done their weddings. I'm now in real estate. You have a very competitive market, like in the DJ market, except you have a test. I'm good. I got somebody I've been using forever. I'm not going to go anywhere else for anything. Corporate, private, whatever it is, you get. That's the loyalty we talked about. You know what I mean? You're developing a relationship that no matter what you have, they will call you, because They just like who you are, but you also do good. If they like you and you're not good, you're not going to get it. You could be good, but you're a butthead, they're not going to like you either. They're not going to want to do business. You got to have those two ingredients. They got to like you, but they got to have trust and confidence. I used to say, like, if in construction, I need a little wall built in my washer dryer basement, just a little thing. I'm going to get Bobby down the block to do it. He's pretty handy. I want to have things knocked out of my kitchen, living room, extensions built. Bobby could do it? No, I'm getting a professional for that. But if you can get a professional that could do everything for you and be the person you trust, that becomes your back pocket. And that's what you want to be for other people and stuff. So it's kind of looking in the mirror at yourself. You got to look in the mirror, and we kind of talked about a devil's advocate, but you really want to analyze, am I really good at what I'm doing? You brought up a point of, what do real estate agents do wrong? Well, you got to realize this. Every person in here is completely different, all right? What you think works may not necessarily be everybody else in here. We do a thing at weddings and events. If you were my party right now, before dinner, I go around and introduce myself to every single table asking what kind of music you're in the mood for. Why? Because today you're in the mood for pop music, but tomorrow you were in a heavy rock mood, and the next day you were in a Drake hip hop mood. Every day is different. What are you in the mood right now to hear? And that's how I build my playlist, because it's really listening to people, connecting with people, and doing it. It's because I don't know everything, even though I've got 30 years experience in doing it. I don't know your personalities, your mood, and everything else. There's always something to learn and do. So then I take my experience in everything, find out what you're about, and then do it. I went to one of those Zig Ziglar and real estate things in 2000 at the Coliseum when I was thinking to get into real estate. And I remember, you've probably heard this exact line before, and he says, when the person comes and the guy's looking at the backyard at the house you're showing, hey, Tom, are you going to cut the lawn yourself, or are you going to have somebody do it? You put them in the thing. Those are things I still use today. That thing about real estate, he connected you that you're actually owning the property and taking care of the lawn. Mary's looking at the living room and saying, hey, you're going to put the couch on this side or that side. What are you going to do? And what does it do to you? It's immediately telling you. If they say, well, I would put the chairs over here and this over here, they're already picturing themselves in the house. I do that with weddings and events. Things I learned from real estate, I cross it over. How to put people in the experience when I talk about their wedding and their event and everything. Those are the little things in business that make a difference, how you can be successful. But if you enjoy the process, you enjoy the people, you enjoy, let's be honest, the thrill of the kill, the sale, that excites you. It's not just the money, it's that you closed it. That's an accomplishment. That is what the next level is of enjoying what you do and taking it and stuff. So, and some of the challenges we've had, I don't know if people work with their spouses and stuff. She'll give you the real stuff. I could tell you it's all rosy, but it's not, you know, but you give the real challenges on that.
Partner is partner. You could be married or not. We happen to be married, and we're also partners. We both have the same exact goal. And with us being married, learning to separate business and personal is a challenge. So there's boundaries. I met a couple earlier, and they're starting their business together. He would take, so it's gonna get dirty. Not dirty, bad dirty. I'm gonna give you some dirt, and you're gonna read about it in the book. We would wake up at 7, start with work, because it was in our garage. And we would work all day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, it was all work. 10 o'clock came, and we had to see a business coach for this. 10 o'clock came, I'm ready to shut it off. I'm ready to watch some reruns and hit the pillow. He would come in, listen, did you have a call, so-and-so? Did you email, blah, blah, blah? So from the business coach, he said, make a line, make a boundary. That was my bedroom door. So once he crossed over that bedroom door and he wanted to talk business, I know this video is funny, but I just went like that. And I said, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it right. So he, well, okay, and he'd walk out, and we would regroup at 7 o'clock the next morning.
Is that when I came back in naked and ready and saying it was different? No, I'm kidding.
But 82, 83% 50% of married couples that are partners that work together end up in divorce. And we are working on
26 and a half years.
We're working on this. Some of our fights are about business. It's not us. I swear it's not a personal thing. It's all business, because he feels one way, I feel another, and we're just like that. But it is a daily challenge. So draw the boundaries with your partner, whether you're married or not. A partner is a partner. Make those lines and secure them and respect them.
One of the things she said earlier with devil's advocate, sometimes if you're a spouse, or you can talk to your spouse or partner, even if they're not in your business, to explain something to them and get the challenge of what do you see wrong with it, other things like that. Having other people to talk to, because of, again, with your point of view, you don't know everybody, you don't know everything. So hearing that, and that's what's helped with us. I'm going to kind of end on a couple of things and then answer questions. There's 3 types of people. All 3 ingredients are important. One is reactive, one is visual, and one is visionary. All right? Reactive people is exactly what it is. They're reactive. The situation happens, they react to it. The better you are at reacting and handle situations, like being a fireman, putting out fires and do it, is critical. So everybody wants to be good and reactive, because the world is full of reactions. Everything is going to come in place. This is going wrong, whatever it is, you got to be good at it. The next step is visual. Visual people that you show them the setup, and now they can start picturing other things that we do. What?
I said that you're the
That's
visionary,
you.
I'm the visual.
I thought you were arguing with me, but you agree now. You heard that. She agreed with me now. So she's visual. I don't see what you see, but show me the things, and then she can literally piece it together. She's great at being reactive, but she's a very visual person. The last thing is visionary. A visionary can look at an empty room and see everything set up. A visionary can see all the details of the process. A visionary can see the process, but more importantly, can see the negatives of things that go wrong. That is the biggest thing of an event. Probably your real estate agent, your contract, you do that with me. Here's why I say you don't want to do this. She's already plotted out the whole thing and said, there's your obstacle. Great, we're not going to do it. Don't bother checking out the property, whatever it is. Visual, visionary people, when you get to that, you can see it all, but you can see it like the matrix in your mind. If you're able to do that, great. If you're not, you write it all down and you show it to make sure you could see it, like on paper. If it could work on paper, it's probably has a good chance of working in reality. People are the people that change it a little bit and stuff. So visionaries, I think, is a very big part. If you think you're a visionary, you've got a really good, I think, upper hand on a lot of things, because it saves you a lot of back time. You could see the whole process in your head. Remember I was saying about one eye in the future, that 5 steps ahead? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You've got to see beyond today. You got to see tomorrow, the next day, and it's not like a goal. Let me be very clear about something, and I love what you said, about like goals and stuff. I'm a little different in one part. I don't have a specific goal. My goal is always success, ahead, happiness. It's there, because it might change a little bit, but it's always going up. It's always about the little things that you put, the details, waking up and doing it. And there's some days you wake up and you're like halfway through the day, you're like, I just can't wait for this day to end, because it sucks. But the ebb and flow of life is, it'll be better tomorrow. It's just one of those days where it all lines incorrectly. And then basically, it's just enjoy what you do. I told you about my passion. My passion's people. As you could tell, I get into talking and doing things, but I want to make sure that you understand it's real. When you talk to people, they will know if it's BS or it's real. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't. Perfect thing in your question. I'm not sure about the answer, and she answered it. I have a lot of respect for that, instead of trying to wing it, because the other things you said were great, real, and everything. You were talking about your business, the system, the way it is, not making it all frou-frou for everybody. Your clients and people you build, the people who work for you or work with you, want to hear realness. Remember I said Alexis used to work 4 days super hard, and Friday she was a wet noodle and she would just be like out of it, this and that, but you know what? I accepted, because what she did Monday through Thursday was 2 weeks worth of work for anybody else. You could be any way you want, girl. And she was honest about it. She didn't lie about it. She just did and showed who she were, and you believed in that. Believe in people who work for you. Show them you support, but you guide them. And if you work for somebody, like that referral, motivate them too. It doesn't mean they're the boss. You can inspire and be the glue for anybody to make them better themselves by being the best support you can possibly be. Doesn't mean you just, yes, sir, ma'am, whatever. And it's not challenging. Well, what about this? What about this? It's making them the best to do. And if they're good people, they will see that. And they will help you grow in the process. So that's a little bit of everything. A lot of other things are covered in the book, but it has been a challenge being in business together. But what she did when she came into this, when she met me, I had a studio. It was great, 3 rooms, but it was not a great studio. And we did recordings. She got me investors, things that did things, expanded my business because of not only support, but humbly being that person that helped think about things. Why don't you do this or whatever it is? She was a reason this business grew. And I get a lot of the accolades now, but it is together, and I'm glad you acknowledge that, because even you wouldn't be successful if Ben wasn't right behind you doing all the things, because the whole back end would fall, which would pull you back the other way. And the last thing before I say is, success is off balance, meaning you will never have a perfect work-life balance to be truly successful. When you're off balance, you got to try to find those things that you can make up for it the best you can in quality time and other things. We do every anniversary is special. Every little things I try to do is make it a little bit general, because most of the times I miss all those other things. Try to grab dinner with Ken, you do what you can, but I try to make the anniversaries special, the surprises, the things that we do. And even when COVID hit, so when I did a lot of the shopping for her, every time I went shopping at Costco, I brought home a dozen flowers, dozen roses for the last 8 months, 9 months, every single time I go. And I remember the girls asking me on the line, are you in trouble? That's what they always do. Guys buy roses, they ask if you're in trouble. But no, yeah, right? But no, it's just a thing that you show those little things when you can. And that's important in the relationship too, because there's a lot of times I screw up, we get yelled at, whatever it is, but it's always, there's still a love and support, because she could be yelling at me, and if somebody was going to hurt me, she would be fierce right there on the spot. And that's the loyalty we get. So thank you everybody for your time. But is there any questions you guys have? If you get it? He's like ready to applaud, not, or like, sorry, I'm gonna throw it up. But I didn't know if anybody had a particular question about the business or anything else we do in relation. Uh-oh.
Y'all are talking because y'all taught me stuff, and so I'm going to talk. I think as realtors, a lot of times we get into our own heads, and our way is the right way. If our clients, for instance, have different opinions, the first thing a lot of us think is, oh, God, why can't you just listen to me, right? One thing that I took away from what you were speaking about is listening to them. That their ideas can be validated. It may not be the best route to go, and you have to explain that. So as a business owner, and when I first came into your office, I mean, I was talking, we're about to open up Raleigh markets, Vinny, and I had been there 2 weeks. And he let me do that. So can you speak to why you feel, why you did that, and what the results from allowing people to give you their ideas?
Because you're never always right. Diane sometimes would say like a right fighter, but the truth is I'm a right fighter that I want this to right the best situation. A lot of my ideas are not all mine. There's different things that you can do. If you hold back somebody, how do you feel if somebody held you back? You know you could do a better job. You could do something different. Those things I did with the Panthers, if my boss had that attitude, I would have never been able to do what I do and enjoy what I do and what it opened up to me to be like. So what I did for you was just not hold you back, not at the leash, and you figured out part of it on your own. Or like you would say, I looked at it for a couple of days, you know what, I don't think it's gonna be worth it. I let you work it out, or you gave me feedback back. The biggest thing you don't wanna do, I should say, or the biggest weakness or anything wrong is don't ever hold anybody back, because you don't wanna be held back. In the real estate market, it's not about your customer's always right, because she'll be like, okay, I see your point, or it's a good idea, let me tell you why, and then she would do it, but she did it in a respectful way that I understood. Now maybe part of it is I got the relationship with you, which is also important, having a relationship with somebody that you could talk to and trust, but I also trust when somebody says, that's not the best way to do something, or this is why it could go wrong. There's a respectful way to say that to somebody to do it. But you don't ever hold anybody back, because that could be the one greatest idea. Does everybody know, I think it was 2001 when Blockbuster was the hugest business out there and Netflix was small. Netflix approached Blockbuster to buy them for $50 million and Blockbuster laughed at them. Where's Blockbuster now and where's Netflix? Right? Do you know Kodak in the 70s was the first company to invent digital photography? They hid it. They were like, well, our business is great. We don't want to, let's just hide it. And everybody else beat it in the market, and Kodak sold most of their pieces out just to not go bankrupt many years later. Don't hold anybody back from an idea. Always encourage ideas, but collaborate. Collaborating like you do, crossing people in different companies right now and talking to people, especially in today's world where we have to pivot, is one of the best things you can do. I'll give you an idea. I'm working on a new company with Diane, and right here is one of my future partners. He's going to be the president of the company, Nathan Hoffman. Nathan has a history. He opened children's stores, restaurants, successful multi-million-dollar companies. And then if anybody knows the Charlotte City Club, he ran it for 14 years and made it multi-million-dollar grossing place. A few months ago, he leaves the thing, and the first thing he does is come up to me and Andrew, catering company I'm talking to. I want to be partners. What are you guys involved with? I want to work with you guys. And now we're involved in a company that's a collaboration of other industry people all together that books something. It's called Together. You'll hear about it very shortly, launched, but literally books everything almost in 2 hours, gives you the best of the best and makes it quick and easy, and then follows through a process. But it's collaborations, it's working with other people and taking great minds. And we have these meetings, and it's 4 different intelligent minds, 5 counting when Diane's there, or 2, to sit there and go give our input into it. And able to say, you know, that's not as important to me. I don't know as much. I'll let you. You're the expert on it. So that goes to what you say. Give people a chance. Let them speak their mind, because you never know what's going to come out. Like the Panthers, if they sequestered me, I would never be as successful. I probably still wouldn't be there. That's the truth on that part. Good question, though. So you're not allowed to ask a question. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. Josh, he works with me. Any other questions? Or to my wife, my lovely wife? Well, thank you very much for your time.
Hi, y'all. So let me start off by telling you, I've given quite a few briefings in my career, and there were more, I'll get into how I did that, but this is a new one for me, so please bear with me. If I do hit the floor, just don't call an ambulance. I don't need an ambulance. Very flattering words, but basically, I'm a newbie realtor. Y'all probably have more experience in the real estate world than I have at this point in time, even though we started at the same time, and I'm gonna kind of tell you why. A little bit about my background. January the 14th of 2021, I will celebrate my 38th year as a paramedic. I currently work for Cabarrus County, so 3 nights a week while y'all are sleeping, I'm manning an ambulance in Harrisburg or Midland. And so about, the last 30 years or so, one of the things I did was to supplement my income was I would go to the estate sales and the storage war buildings and the estate auctions. And I would buy these trinkets. I'd go and see a storage room full of carpet padding, or an estate home with pianos and stuff, and I'd buy that and I'd resell it to make a little play money, because you work for the county, you got to do something, because trust me, county money is not there. So about 25 years of that, over that period of time, I learned a lot about what's valuable to people and what's not. You'd be amazed at what some of the things we've found in storage buildings that you would have thought were junk, door prop. I have a story about one of those little sewing machines that's, you carry around in a case, and I got a guy in Orangeburg, South Carolina, who will buy them all from me for $600 a piece now, because they're valuable, and I didn't know that. But I learned over a period of time how to look at things and see what I could get out of them, market them, different things, where you could sell them. And I built a rapport with people all over the country who own thrift stores and art galleries. And I'd find this little item and I'd call them and say, hey, I got this item, what's it worth? And a lot of times they'd buy it from me, that sort of thing. And so about 7 years ago, around 2016, July 2016, I think it was, I had a neighbor who said, They're being relocated she lives across the street from me. Her and her husband had lived in this house for 15 years, had come from Florida, and they were being shipped back to Florida, transferred back. She's in a 3,500 square foot home, and they're going to a 900 square foot apartment. And she said, I gotta get rid of all this stuff. What am I gonna do with it? And I was like, well, why don't you sell it? Why don't you just put it online and sell it? That's the easy thing, right? Everybody's in Facebook Marketplace. You ever bought anything on Facebook Marketplace? Put it on there, sell it. Craigslist, you'll make a few bucks. You don't have to worry about it. She's 65 years old. She says, I don't know, I can't do that. People come to my door, that's not. So I agreed. I said, look, I'll sell it for you. We'll put it online. They'll think it's mine. You'll get it out of your hair. We liquidated her house in probably 3 days. Oh, great, you know. She insisted on giving me a little bit of money. That's great, like maybe a bundt cake and 15 bucks or something. And so the next week, she had a friend who called me and we did it for her. That first 6 months we touched 9 houses. Great, this is a great little sideline business. It's easy to do. It's making a little bit of money, no problem, good stuff. Learning more, and I just call my folks, hey, I got an antique piece here, I got an art piece there, that sort of thing. So the second year we started it off and we had our first, what I call death home. So let me give you a little background. 38 years as a paramedic, my family owned a funeral home. And so at age 12, 13, we dealt with death all the time. Funeral home, families coming through, ambulance calls, all that good stuff. We dealt with people in that transition of life that they have to go through. Every person here is going to deal with that scenario at some point. And so having learned how to deal with folks back then, when our first estate home come along, a gentleman had passed away, was 92, his daughter was 74, his son was 76. The son's in a nursing home. The daughter lives in Houston, Texas, and they have this 2-bedroom, 700 square foot house in Augusta, Georgia. And she's like, it's been empty for 4 years because I can't get over there to empty it. That was my first estate home. We went in, my father-in-law went in, we drove down there, opened it up. In that home we found $92,000 in cash, like 29 weapons, right? Payday city, right? But and I tell you the story because every family's a little bit different in how they deal with the estate home, okay? Estates and probates are a niche market for real estate agents, right? Some of them, you're at some point gonna deal with a family who's needing to liquidate a home that's an estate or someone has passed away. And so there's a lot of rules to that game, but it is a niche market. Now I'm trying to get to how I made it blend. That home, 700 square foot, I mean, literally this big, 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, 92-year-old man. The daughter, who's the executor, comes to town, and I wasn't a realtor, so I just got the local realtor. Who's the best realtor in town? Got the best one. Said, we went to dinner. So I was talking about the house. So we're going to sell this house, and I thought, oh, this is a $49,000 house all day long. Great little fixer-upper. It needs a lot. Real estate agent says, oh no, I'm selling this for $129,900. I about fell out of the chair. I was like, you crazy. She says, oh no, you said, you got to know your market. She said, we're 4 miles from the medical college. So students come here for medical school, they'll buy these little houses, fix them up, and when they leave, they'll sell them for $169,000. They've made a profit. We're all good. So we eating our barbecue, having a good talk. My client's super happy. We got her house empty, and the realtor just told her she's going to make a little money. She's all that. The realtor turns and says, but what do you want to do with the other properties? And I went, what other properties? The client went, what other properties? So the realtor proceeds to pull out her portfolio and says, well, he owned this building, the Lions Club. He owned this building, which is the Masonic Temple. He owned this building, which was some other group. Oh, and he owns a 17-story office building that's downtown that's been boarded up for 30 years. All total, $27.5 million in real estate. That was just base market price. The next day, I signed up for my real estate license. Couldn't get a referral on all that work. She couldn't pay me a referral because I wasn't a realtor. So that's how I got in the business. But it blends into what we're doing. And I'm hoping to relay to you what she describes as a niche market. I'm in a niche market as a realtor. If you go on my stats on MLS and look how many houses I've actually sold or closed, that sort of thing, you got to understand that those are the public-facing ones. There's in our world, the first year we did 9 houses. The second year I did 19. We touched 19 homes. Third year, 27 homes. Last year we did 44 homes. Now this year, we only had 17 so far. Actually, 18 is coming off this weekend. Signed the agreement yesterday, mainly because of COVID. And so when COVID came around, I'm like, I got to do something different. So when you get a listing, what do? You go meet with the client, you do the paperwork, you stage it, you clean it up, whatever you got to do, get it on the market, get it sold, right? Well, in the world of COVID, when you're trying to do an estate home, it's a whole different world, because now not only are you selling the house, you're selling everything in it. All the stuff that's in there has got to be cleaned out, gone through, you got to find what's there. And the families need to liquidate all those items. So now you've got even bigger challenges. Has anybody ever had to do an estate home or dealt with an estate company? I'll tell you. Yeah, executors. I will tell you that the rule book for those as a realtor becomes, realtor rule book's about this thick, and then when you deal with an estate, you're like this. And where you have a normal 30-day listing to close or listing 60 days, whatever, mine could be years. Mine could be, it all depends on how extracted the estate is. We have one that we started in year 2, we still don't have clearance to put it on the market. So it sits until some court decides that we can do it. So knowing that market and knowing how to work that market is extremely difficult. But it highlights the fact that as a realtor, you're going to have to change the way you do real estate, not only from the COVID perspective, right? Now we have to wear masks. Now we have to have the precautions and stuff like that. So one of the things we did was, have any of you ever used Matterport? So Matterport Home for your home listing. We took the Matterport model and incorporated it into the estate sale. If you've ever been to an estate sale, you basically walk around these people's houses and you see all their stuff and you pick out what you want to buy, and we sell it to you at a significantly discount price. There is one this weekend, by the way, if you're interested. So we staged up the home, we clear it out and get it ready. We do a Matterport. Now folks from all over the country can actually walk through an estate sale in our company, click on the item. Oh, I love that lamp. Put it in their shopping cart, and then we ship it to them. And when I did this, one of the things that I didn't intend on was some other markets opened up for me. And that was, number one of my biggest customers now is the film industry. So when you watch a movie and you see something from 1970, like a living room, I very well could have provided that living room that came out of an estate home that they saw on my page, or a specific lamp, or they needed a particular piece. Believe me, they come up with some really unique things that they're looking for. And so far, we've had pretty good success in finding those. So the story that I'm trying to get to here is basically, not only do you as realtors need to look at your brokerage, the way you run your brokerage, the way you're interacting with your clients in this new day and age. I've been a paramedic for 38 years. This virus thing, it's not going away. They might take the mask away next year, who knows? But the process that's being laid, the foundation that's being laid on how you deal with people, it's all moving virtual, and that's what you're going to have to incorporate with. Finding your niche would be helpful in making you different, right? How many realtors we got in Charlotte? 9,000? Something like that. But how many are active? How many people are you on Facebook that have? I own Charlotte Area Realtors Live. If you're not on the page, join. Give me a like. We literally put it up, and within a day, we were at 1,600, something like that, right? And all it is information sharing. But you are going to be working in a different environment. So you've got to differentiate yourself, not only in your abilities to do the work, to be a good realtor, to know how to list a house and get it sold. You're going to have to find a way to be able to get in front of people that you don't normally get in front of, that you're not normally going to be exposed to. And making yourself different, being the person that people go, oh, estate sales, yeah. If you go on my Facebook right now, put in who does estate sales, up until about a year ago, there were times where I was one of 3 companies, and I've had people say who does estate sales, and I was the only company recommended, 9 or 10 recommendations. We focus on the family relationship. We develop our relationship with the executor. I don't just go in and, oh, here's the paperwork, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do the other. We literally become part of the family with these folks, because this is a very emotional time. We're seeing things about their families and learning about them on a level that a standard realtor would never encounter, okay? I have gone through homes and found out my client had brother that they didn't even know about, who lives down the street that they played with as a child. They didn't know it. They didn't know they were related, things like that. And so you connect with these folks on a level that's so different. But when someone says who does estate sales, because of our reputation, because of our professionalism, we feel like we're poised to be the next big thing in that market. People who look to us, and it naturally blends to the real estate. So we do work with realtors from all the different companies. I'm with EXP. I have a group of realtors within EXP, but we broker protect. So if you're with Keller Williams, you're with Coldwell Banker, we protect that relationship. As a matter of fact, one of the first things I say is, hey, don't tell me nothing about the house. I want to bring a buyer, right? And usually one of our agents is act the estate sale. You're interested in the house? We've sold probably 12 houses that way. Person come through the estate sale, I'm really interested in buying the house. Okay, well, here's the card. Make the deal. It never hit the MLS because we made that deal before we ever made the MLS. So having a niche, whatever your niche might be, is going to help drive business to you, because you're not going to get it standing at the open houses. I've done an open house not too long ago, and I had no one show up because of the COVID. It's like, okay, so is that model dead? Is that going to be one of the things they'll say that realtors used to do? I don't know about that, but understand that you've got to look at your model and say, where can I focus my energy into building my niche so that I can be the standout? You might be that you're the standout for neighborhood XYZ. You might be all about Brookhaven Country Club neighborhood, or Gastonia, or you might be the greatest stager around. And when someone says, hey, I need this niche, you should be the first one that they think of. And the only way you can do that is following the advice that you heard from these other speakers. And I'm going to tell you that real quick. Relationships. I got 987 people on my email chain. When I go to a house, first thing we do is take pictures. I send it out to 987 people who get that roll of pictures. They're the ones buying my stuff. They're the ones calling me, hey, I want that hot rod. Here's the offers for $70,000. Because we've developed that relationship. They know that when I put the pictures out that I'm telling them good information. A lot of times they don't even come here to see it. They just say ship it, pay for it. I've had moving trucks pull up, take the whole house, because it was all 1950s stuff. That relationship building, that honesty, and that kind of forethought about where you're going to go with your business will lead you to those kind of relationships, both over a period of time and the ones you develop in the future, because you're going to need them in this new marketplace, in this new world. You're going to need to be the person that they think of, because you're going to have a harder time being the standout. Does that make sense? And I like I said, I can give briefings, but not stuff like this. So our future of my business, some of the things we're doing is different, is a lot of our homes don't even make it to MLS. We deal with a lot of needs from families when the property is going to transfer. So if you have a property that you just inherited, your grandma's place or whatever, it's not a transaction if it's transferred from one family member to another, but a realtor still is involved to do the paperwork. So, I mean, I would tell you I've probably done 300 transactions, just paperwork, but because it is a unique transaction, it doesn't go through MLS. And all of those kind of things will end up being, once you determine your niche, and understand you don't have to have this, you can have the same niche as someone else. You can do it at just different areas. You can, if you both like staging, right, you get friendly competition. I have other people who do estate sales. Like I said, I think there's only about three reputable companies. I'll say that right off. There's only about 3 reputable companies. I went to one the other day, and We've got a lot of fly-by-night people have popped up lately with estate sales, about 6 or 7 that we've identified. And I just happened to see one of their signs and said, oh, let me go see what they're doing. Walked in with my shirt on, got met at the door by the realtor from Caldwell Banker, I think it was. She's all about, hey, estate sale, everything's for sale. Let us know what and the place is for sale. I'll be glad to show it to you. She's doing her job. She's doing open house, using the estate sale. She's thinking outside the box instead of a regular open house, right? So I walk through the house and there's a loaded shotgun on the mantle. I'm like, yeah, you can't sell that. It's kind of against the law. You'll go to federal prison for it. But what got worse is when we went in the kitchen. Went into the kitchen and they had taken the contents of the cabinetry out of the cabinets, put it on the counters. And so you would think, well, dishes, pots and pans, glasses, all that good stuff. No, we're talking about the food. The half empty jar of peanut butter is 50 cents. Things like that. So what the story is trying to tell you is that if you're going to find a niche in something, make sure you learn that niche. Make sure you are the subject matter expert. If you're going to try to do something like, if you're staging, know how to do the staging, know how to do the virtual staging, know how to do the real staging, know where to get the best furniture, know what those styles are that you need to have. Be that expert in that field or what that niche is, and that business will come find you. There's a world of difference when you talk about a niche person doing this business and a person who's just jack of all trades, master of none, right? And if you can isolate what you do best and harness it, you'll find that the work comes to you. You don't have to work as hard to find it. Relationship building, being honest and true to your business and to your word as a company. I get entrusted with a lot of money. The house I'm in right now, well, one of the houses I'm in right now, we found $390,000 in U.S. Treasury bearer bonds. Family had no idea they existed. I could have simply taken those to the bank. I'm rich, right? But you can't do it that way. You have to honor your word and be true to your if I wanted to do that, I could tell you I might as well close the business, because if it ever got out, right, I'd be shut down. Not only be in jail, but I'd be shut down. Understanding your relationships, being true to your word, finding your balance between what you're doing in real estate and what you're doing in life is going to matter. I've got the unique perspective of being a paramedic for 38 years. I've been present when people have passed away. I've been there, I've seen it, I've dealt with the families, I've had to explain to them the processes and all that stuff. And that, even though I cannot, as my county employee, I can't tell them about my business. I can't say, oh, well, here's my card, look, call me. All right, there's a line. But understand that with what I do, people have questions about it. And I get family members who'll call me and say, hey, can you help this family member or that family member? And I sometimes have to say no because of my involvement somewhere else, like in the county world. And that's one of the reasons I say 38 years on January 14th, because I got 9 shifts left. So my goal is to make this my retirement. One of the things I love to do is, we talk about motivation, is one of the things I love to do is I go on disaster deployment. So I've traveled the world to Tahiti and Haiti and Puerto Rico and Mexico and Mozambique and all these places, and they're very exotic, and I've probably been to every third world Caribbean island out there. Never for vacation. It's always been for a disaster, and I enjoy doing that. So this business is leading me to the freedom of schedule and time to be able to do those. So it's not all about the money. It's not all about the accolades of doing the business. It's all about in that success and that happiness of what you're doing. So whatever niche you find, and I encourage you, try to look at what you do and what you think you can turn into a marketable niche, and go for it. Don't take advantage of the fact that our market's changing and the way we do business is changing. And if you go with it and develop something like that, you'll go a whole bunch further. How many did you say? 19,000 realtors? 16,000 realtors in Charlotte, but how many are active? How many? If you watch Facebook, you see the same names over and over and over again, right? You see the same players, you see the same groups. There's so many that have got their license and don't do anything with it for various reasons. But if you're going to make it in this business, you got to flex. You got to find that niche for you and make it work for you. One of the things he mentioned was thinking outside of the box. And I so wholeheartedly agree with it. And I'll even tell you, not only think outside the box, think outside the rule book. Now, as realtors, we have a lot of rules, right? You have to do it this way, you have to do it that. Oh my goodness, sign a listing agreement and don't put it on MLS in 24 hours and 15 minutes and somebody's calling you, right? They're blowing you up, right? Even if you mention it. Oh, I thought I saw a house last week. Well, you know, we got all these rules. You've got to figure out a way to make your niche outpace the rule book. Don't be afraid. I heard an analogy not too long ago, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Apologize. One of the struggles this person was having was with depression was what struggle is today. And the struggle was for the day was the dishes. The dishes are in the kitchen. I just don't have the willpower to get up and go wash the dishes. And that's just got me, stressed, So the answer is put the dishes in the dishwasher and wash them. Well, they won't come clean. Okay, think outside the rule book. Put them in the dishwasher, wash them, go back and wash them again. Set it off the third time. Set it off the fourth time. There's no rule that says you can only wash them once, right? There's no rule that says you have to scrub them down and then put them in the dishwasher. So change the rule, change the way you do it. Take a shower laying down. Why not? Is there some magic rule? On a deployment, I was asked to do a scenario deployment. I was being interviewed for a team. This team was a very elite team, and it was they spent a lot of money vetting us. So they basically called me on the phone and said, hey, your application, we'd like to interview you for this job. It's great. We're going to send you a plane ticket. Be on the plane. Got my plane ticket. It said, fly to Detroit. Okay. No return ticket. Okay. So no return ticket on the plane. Fly to, I said Detroit, didn't I? I meant Boston. Flew me to Boston. Get off the plane in Boston. Nobody meets me. Don't know where to go. Don't know what hotel I'm staying at. Don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm just in the airport. 7 hours later, after I'm blowing up the person that I'm supposed to be, they're ignoring me. 7 hours later, I see a guy walking through the place with a shirt on for the organization that I was supposed to be there. And I said, where are you coming? Are you here to pick me up? No, are you here to pick me up? No. He's another person who's being interviewed, right? So now we're standing together. I get a text that says, hey, your bus is over at the train station. Get over there. They're waiting on you. What train station? Where? How am I going to get there? The entire process was designed to throw me totally out of my world and out of my game. And it was a psychological event, right? I spent 4 days living on the streets of Boston with my backpack, walking from place to place trying to maneuver this course. The point being is if you take your whole world and turn it upside down and make it something that's totally foreign to you, how do you manage? How do you make it through that? You got to think outside the box. One of the biggest lessons I learned about the city of Boston in this trip, we ended up we left Boston and we literally walked from Boston to Philadelphia. Literally walked that far, 7 of us, and we had to make point to point to point. You had to find Joe at this restaurant. He's going to leave at 3 and you better be there. One of the things I learned about Boston is on the weekends, their buses are free. I was going to the bus stations and looking at the map. Oh, I need to go here to here to here to here and to here. And off I'd go, but I didn't look at the sign that said, oh, the bus C that goes there is free. Didn't think about it, because the rule to me was, I can't ride the bus if I don't have money. Don't have any money, can't ride the bus. But if you figure out a way to make the rule book work for you, then the rules are your oyster. You can flex them however you need to. Don't be afraid to bend the rules where you can to make it work for your niche, is what I'm trying to get at. We do estate sales. I come in, you can call 5 estate companies, auction companies. I don't do auctions. People say, oh, it's an auction. No, it's not an auction. I don't do auctions. because people don't get the benefit that they get with my service. But we rewrote the rule book about how we do an estate sale. People go to an estate sale, it's 7, 10, 20 people show up, they walk through, decide what they want to pay for this stuff, take it home, and then we're stuck. Well, now we've opened up the market so that our last Matterport home had 9,300 unique trips through the home in a single day from all over the world. Japan, the best one I ever is, have you ever seen the Weekend at Bernie's movie? Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's? For all of you younger folks, great movie, Google it. It's extremely funny, but basically it's a cult classic, Weekend at Bernie's. It's available on VHS and DVD. For those of you that know what VHS is, you're showing your age, right? Because nowadays we don't even use DVDs that much, but we sell them all the time. I got $784 for a VHS copy of that movie from some guy in Japan because it's a cult classic. He didn't want the DVD version, he wanted the VHS version. People pay for what they want to pay for. But if I didn't think outside the box, he'd have never seen that I had the copy. So utilize the rule books in the real estate world to your maximum, but utilize the rule book of life in a whole different way and make it fit your niche. Make it bring you what you need out of your business model to get you there. I would have never thought 3 years ago that I'd touched 44 houses. Now understand 44 houses is what we touched, what we worked on at some point, whether we did an estate sale, whether we just did a clean out, all that kind of stuff. We touched 44 different properties. I would have never thought to do that. And if I was doing that as a regular, if you did 44 houses in a year, would you be here talking to me? Probably in Cabo or somewhere, right? So utilize those outside the box thinking to do that. Build your relationships from the ground up over the course of time and make yourself that niche person that people know you can deliver, you can make that work, they can put it in your hands and it's yours and that you're going to handle it. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what our company does, and I'm going to take questions. We talk about real estate. We do estate sales. I've told you all about that. That's kind of cut and dried. But we also do realtor services. I'm going to say, hey, can you go take down the place set that's in the backyard that the seller left and the buyer don't want, and they're going to argue, and can you get rid of it? Yep. Put a crew together, send them out there, get it out of the yard the same day. All right. Those are realtor services. So realtors can call us. We can do a showing. We can do a clean out. We can solve a problem. You got a hazmat cleanup. We've had that. Somebody called and said, we're closing in 2 days and there's a blood stain in the living room the size of a cat. Why? Because somebody got murdered there. We can go in and get that fixed, right? We can handle that kind of stuff. So we're developing our market to expand into the real estate services, realtor services. You need a lockbox cut off. You need, the list goes on and on and on. We are advertising in that. Some of the things we're doing in the future, we're building our client base. And here's one of the ways we do it. I have 3 clients that we currently serve who live in the retirement 55 and older neighborhoods. One of them in Indian Land, there's a couple in Charlotte. We have 3 clients that live in those whose family has contracted us to be their concierge estate property manager. So grandma and grandpa live there, but when they need a box out of the attic, they call my office and we send someone to get the box out of their closet. Change out the light bulbs. We go see that property, whatever schedule that the family wants, quarterly, semi-annually. We go through and make sure all the light bulbs are changed, make sure the air filters are changed, make sure there's not a leak under the sink. I'll tell you a quick story. House in Sun City, house is 3 years old, it developed a leak under the sink. Drip, 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 right? I met this woman, her son called us and said, we want to do your service. I went and met with her, and she was very nice, and she's like, yeah, the last guy had come do some work for me. He did a great job. He said, but he was so expensive. You're not that expensive, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not that expensive, but what did he do for you? Well, I had a drip under my sink, and it was bugging me. I could hear it dripping at night. So I said, well, show it to me. So she showed it to me, and she opens the door, and it's standard plumbing, right? Everybody's seen a sink, right? Under sink. There was a brand new cabinet there, and there was a brand new pipe, and it looked great. Did a great job. He fixed the leak. She said, but that was $15,000. And I went, what? 15,000, what'd they have to do, rebuild your house? No, that's the going rate nowadays. I said, it is. And she's like, yeah. She said, here's the guy's name. His name is whatever. I won't say his name. He charged me $15,000 to replace my sink. And so one of our services is we will be that third-party intermediary for that family. So when she says there's a leak under the sink, somebody with a half a brain goes and looks at it and says, yeah, plumber, I need you to fix this for them. What is the rate? Negotiate the rate, get the work done, bill the client. Grandma is not spending her life savings by being swindled by some Yahoo plumber. The family who lives far off has got the peace of mind knowing that somebody is close and can handle those kinds of things. So that niche market, we plan to expand. And here's the great part. My business is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Next year, first of the year, we were supposed to do it January, but first of the year, we're opening an office in Elon, North Carolina. We're opening an office in Augusta, Georgia. The same model that I have, which I'm trying to develop here, is going to be redeveloped in those two markets. There's what, 85 metropolitan markets in the country. And so we plan to expand to every one of them by finding an agent in that city who can take on the core values of what we do, teach them those basic pieces, and then they can build on it and keep adding to it. My database right now for just Charlotte market, just in the last 6 months, is 1,650 houses or properties, unique properties. I don't even chase after them. I can't, because if I took on 1%, I'd be drowned. I got 9 staffers right now, and we go so fast that we go from place to place to place. So the market is there, and I've identified it, and we just have to keep building on it. You will find that market in your niche if you look for it, if you make the market fit you to some degree by changing the rule book. So I guess the nuts and bolts is it, think outside the box and think outside the rule book, because that's how you're going to change your business model in the future. You're not going to get it with the stuff we've done in the past. I had a realtor call me, said, I want you to go with me to meet this client. This lady lived in Atlanta. She's a physician. Her dad lived in Mooresville, had died. The house had been empty for a year. She just never had the time to get up here. She finally took the time and said, I'm going up there. We're going to get this done. She finds her realtor. Realtor calls me, hey, can you come and talk to this lady? Help me seal the deal. So I show up. I'm standing there. The realtor's finishing up her sales pitch. Her listing agreement just got signed. It's nice and neat. And I'm sitting there, and I watch the realtor. And you may have done this too. You took your client and you go, you got to change these lights. You got to move this, get this out of here. You got to make that agreeable gray. Take away, change the carpet. The client is literally walking around behind her, taking notes. What have I got to do? What I got to do? She gets all done. I said, thank you so much for the referral. She leaves. The realtor's out the door. She's going to her next listing agreement. Sat down with the client. I said, okay, so I got your list. She said, has her list. I said, that's a pretty extensive list. She said, yeah. I said, I took the paper from her. I said, if you hire me, you don't have to do it. She said, what do you mean? I said, that's what we do. We're going to clean the place out. We're going to stage it. We're going to organize it. We're going to get everything out. If you want it painted, we'll paint it. You want the carpet pulled, we'll pull the carpet. You want to clean the carpet, we'll clean the carpet. You want the basement empty, we want to empty the basement. We're going to empty that. You don't have to do any of this. I got the contract like that. She was prepared to see her 2 weeks. She went home the next day. Just in time, the next day after that, she had a doctor's appointment and found out she had terminal brain cancer. So now we've taken the entire burden of this process off of her and able to just communicate with her. That's one thing off her plate. I guarantee you the next time someone says, do you know an estate company, her and her family are going to think of me, because we provide that 100% service. True to our word, true to our relationships, and being the best in our market, whatever that niche is. So take ownership of what you find, take ownership of what you want to develop as a niche for you, and run with it, just like he did. DJ business is 1,000 DJs out there, but until you make it your own, make it what you believe in and sell it that way, they'll start coming to you. I think you would probably agree with that. So, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna ask, if you got questions, I'm happy to answer questions. My card is on your table. I just empowered 60, however many people are in the room. You're now my referral agents. We do protect brokers. So questions, anything I can answer? See, I told you it was lullaby time. Thank y'all. No, I did not do it. I'm stumbling through.
Oh, I stumbled too. That's what makes it relatable. I like it. You did good. There we go. All right, guys, I'm not going to keep you too long. I want to end this by saying thank you so much for coming out. Yeah, as Phil said, there's a bar back there, so if we made your brains warm, you can go have a drink. I hope today that you guys all take away just 3 key things. Number 1, come from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity. If you come from a place of scarcity, the fear in you is going to keep you inside of a box, like Vinny said. It's going to keep you from finding a way to bend the rules. It's going to keep you from